Our tradition tells us that it was in the merit of the Jewish women that the Jewish nation was redeemed from Egypt. You see, after a long day of backbreaking labor, the Jewish husbands would return home, and their wives would be waiting for them outside, beautifully dressed and adorned, enticing them to come into the home, to commit to the home, to have children, to ensure a Jewish future. It was indeed in the merit of the Jewish women that our people were redeemed. And this answers one question I've always had concerning the Haggadah. You see, there is a glaring omission amongst its pages. The name of Moses, Moshe. It's not there. I mean, there's only one mention as an aside in one section of Rabbi Yossi HaGlili, but apart from that, he's absent. How can that be? The great liberator and redeemer of the Jewish people barely gets a mention. And I think there's one beautiful answer that I can share that means a lot to me, which is this. You see, his name is not there to allow room and space for the other heroes, for the unsung heroines of the story of Pesach, to allow them to shine. And I think principal among those is the story of Miriam, Moshe's sister. You see, Miriam was the leader of the Jewish women back in Egypt. She gathered them together to pray and to worship. After the Jews were redeemed, it was Miriam that led the Jewish women in song after the splitting of the sea. And furthermore, when the Jews were traveling for 40 years in the desert, it was in Miriam's merit that they all had water. She was a special Jewish leader. And in fact, without her, Moses himself was only half a man. And if you think about it, there's only one time in Moshe's life that he makes a mistake, that he's not perfect. God commands him to speak to the rock to produce water, and Moses strikes the rock. Why is that? And Rabbi Jonathan Sacks explains in a very human perspective that if we look at the passage in the Torah that precedes the passage about the striking of the rock, we will see it speaks about the passing of Miriam, which he explains. You see, Moses was now struggling. He was in mourning. Miriam was everything to him. She watched over him back in Egypt when he was a little boy floating on the Nile River. It was Miriam that was ensuring that he was safe. When he was discovered by Pharaoh's daughter Batya, again, it was Miriam that stood up for him and suggested to Batya that Moshe's mother be the one to feed him. And even when Miriam spoke slander against Moses to his brother Aaron, Moses prayed for her healing because she meant so much to him. And so we can now understand that he strikes the rock because without his sister Miriam around, without her influence upon his life, he's now stuck. He can't think straight. This is how important Miriam was to Moses, and without her, he couldn't be that great leader. And so this Pesach, let's give memory to Miriam and to the other great women in whose merit we were redeemed. And let's also give honor and dedication to all the Jewish women that we are honored to have in our lives. Chag Sameach.